Welcome back. In today's video, we are going over L's defeat in Death Note. L's mind is extraordinary, but he is still operating within the logic of the human world, cause and effect, motive and behavior, clues and deduction, while Light is armed with a tool that obliterates every one of those principles. This asymmetry shapes the entire rivalry. People love to frame the Light versus L conflict as a fair intellectual duel, but it never is, because Light possesses a weapon that allows him to change his own mind, erase his memories, manipulate causality, and influence life and death without leaving any physical evidence behind. L gets closer to the truth than any human could, identifying Kira's identity and behavior patterns with incredible speed. But truth isn't enough when the world refuses to give you proof. L's brilliance leads him to Light immediately, but brilliance cannot overcome supernatural mechanics designed to conceal guilt. Light's surrender of the notebook is the turning point, not because it shows Light's genius, but because it creates a version of Light that genuinely isn't Kira anymore in mind, motive, or profile. L is not being manipulated emotionally, he is being forced to accept the observable reality in front of him. Light without the notebook is a fundamentally different person, one who aligns perfectly with L's expectation of rational morality. Every method L uses, profiling, behavioral analysis, logical deduction, clashes with a tool that can rewrite the user's identity in an instant. L insists on a world where actions expose character, where guilt leaks through behavior, but the Death Note negates those rules entirely. The Light who works beside L is legitimately innocent at that moment, and L is not foolish for seeing that. He is paying the price of being a detective in a story where logic is no longer the highest authority. The second major factor in L's loss is structural. He is bound by the laws of investigation, cooperation, and legitimacy, while Light is bound by nothing. L cannot imprison Light without proof, cannot detain him indefinitely, and cannot kill him on suspicion, because the system he works within requires evidence. Light, meanwhile, can kill anyone instantly, witnesses, suspects, investigators, without ever risking exposure. L must follow procedure, while Light operates outside of every system L respects. This creates tension within the task force as well. Light's charm, charisma, and perfectly controlled behavior make him appear sincere, determined, and trustworthy. So while L remains suspicious, everyone else begins to drift toward Light's side. Over time, L is forced to swim upstream against not only supernatural concealment, but the natural human tendency to trust the person who looks calm, helpful, and innocent. A detective can't win when the very people he needs to trust him find more comfort in the suspect he is chasing. But even all of this is still not the final nail in the coffin. L's ultimate downfall occurs because he cannot anticipate or counter a supernatural intervention. Light leverages the rules of the Death Note and the emotional attachment of Rem, a Shinigami with motives no human being could predict, to execute L. L doesn't lose to Light in the warehouse because of a deduction error. He loses because Rem kills him, and L has no framework to predict that. He does not know that a Shinigami can die by saving a human. He does not know that a Shinigami is capable of emotional sacrifice. He does not know that the notebook rules can override any human plan. No detective, no matter how brilliant, can defend himself against a weapon that kills on contact and a godlike being whose thoughts, lifespan, and limitations are entirely unknown. L is playing a human game in a world where the rules secretly belong to gods. And yet, even with this insurmountable disadvantage, he nearly wins. He is seconds away from proving Light is Kira multiple times, but every time he approaches the truth, the rules of the Death Note shift the outcome just enough to prevent it. That's the tragedy of L. Not that he was wrong, but that he was right too early before he could collect the evidence he needed to act. His instincts never fail him, his constraints do. He dies knowing he solved the puzzle, but also knowing that solving it wasn't enough. The anime visualizes this brilliantly. The rain, the footsteps, the piano theme, the slow realization on his face. L doesn't die defeated, he dies understanding. He finally sees the shape of the game he has been trapped in, the realization that his opponent was never Light alone but the supernatural rules that shaped Light's world. And as he closes his eyes, he accepts the truth. He played perfectly on a board designed for him to lose. Light may celebrate the victory, but it's an illusion. He beats L only because the universe handed him a weapon that logic can't challenge. L represents the limits of human genius. Light represents what happens when human genius is granted divine power. L doesn't lose because he is outsmarted. He loses because one man is playing reality and the other is rewriting it. L's defeat is not a failure of intelligence, but a demonstration of Death Note's central theme. Even the sharpest human mind breaks when forced into a world where intellect is no longer the highest force. And that is why L's loss remains one of the most iconic in anime, not because he was outplayed, but because his defeat proves exactly how terrifying the Death Note and light truly is. Thanks for sticking around till the end. Please like and subscribe. I will make more videos and get better along the way, to the beginning of a new journey. Bye!